not a writer.
Okay.
For those who...
What we do here is go back.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother...
To see what's behind these closed doors, but I promise you,
Hey, what's going on, Mecha Army? Welcome. Chibi, what's going on? It's Monday. What it do? Welcome to the Child of Mecha live stream. I am your host, Tim, the one and only Child of Mecha. It's Monday. Yay. And like you see back there, it's only 5 days. 5 days to the amazing SCGMC. Can't wait. Can't wait. Cannot wait. So, airdrop Chibi. If you're going to SCGMC, you will see the airdrop in person. Yeah. You will see it in person. I am bringing it. It is coming to the West Coast. So there you go. So come on out to the SCGMC if you have the opportunity, if you have the means to get there. I highly suggest it. It's going to be a blast. So, yeah, come on out. If you want one of these cool-ass t-shirts, hit up www.childofmecha.com. Hit the store button up at the top. You'll find shirts, hats, and all sorts of other cool stuff in there. Go get you some. Stock up. As always, they make wonderful Christmas presents, by the way. From what I've heard. Yeah. Slick Builder wants to know, do you still have the hummingbird? Yeah. Why wouldn't I? The hummingbird's retired, though. It's retired to its cage. It is. I am not moving that thing again. It ain't happening. So, that's why. Donnie Baxter's over there on Facebook. What's going on, D? He's going to SCGMC. Can't wait to party with him. Good stuff. But if you are interested in any of the tools and materials that we are going to be working with here tonight, I definitely suggest you hit up the Amazon link just below here on Twitch and YouTube. That side, if you're watching on Facebook. I get a bit of a commission based off the stuff that you buy, but it does go to help out the stream, so go ahead and load up. It's for a good cause. What can I say? Aside from that, if you need kits or paints, accessories, or Mecha Decals, I highly suggest you hit up our good friends right down here, USA Gundam Store. Adam and the guys down there will have what you need. Yeah, hit them up. Anyway, tonight, let's talk about programming this week, you guys, because I was honestly kind of 50-50 on whether I'd even do streaming this week, but tonight is the only stream for this week. All right, because I'm gonna take it easy on Wednesday, and then I am flying next Monday. Well, obviously on Friday I'm flying out there, and then next Monday I'm flying back. So the next stream isn't going to be until next Wednesday of next week. So, FYI. So, I figured I probably shouldn't leave you guys hanging for a week and a half. So tonight we're gonna do we're gonna do something special. We're gonna get dirty, like dirty. We're gonna be working with and shaping epoxy putty. So dirty, yeah, dirty. I've already shaped one of these parts tonight, and dust and crap everywhere. So yeah, it's gonna get nasty. But it's a pretty damned cool process. So definitely keep watching, because we're going to shape this thing, and we're going to get it from a glob of epoxy putty into a nice sharp shape. So yeah, and I'll show you kind of before and after here in a second once we get into that. But like I said, so tonight's the only stream for this week. Next week is only going to be Wednesday and Friday, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. But obviously, with so many people being out at SCGMC, there's going to be just probably a ton of pictures and videos and stuff like that that are going to be coming up on your feed. So stay tuned for that. That should be fun, especially on Saturday during the festivities and things. I may try to stream the demo, the scribing demo. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not sure if I really want to lug all my crap out there. So I don't know. It's not looking too good, I'll be honest, but there's always that chance. And then there's always a chance that somebody is on Instagram just kind of, hey, check it out, right? So there's that. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not promising anything. Don't get your hopes up. Jeez. Guys are so needy. Anyway. All right. So, without any further ado, let's go camera 2. Booyah. All right, so this is the Cubelay chest that we are working on. And let me kind of show you what I've done thus far. Basically just a lot of reinforcement on this thing and structural additions and all that good stuff, right? So last time we were together, we added these, bumper strips on top here on all of these. And then over the weekend, I added all of this structural kind of rigidity in here just to, there was an open space right here, filled that up, bumped that out so that all these surfaces are now nice and even here, right? And then I gotta shave this little tab thing off here. But all this is nice and even, and it's looking good, right? And then we had the little neck cover right there. This is all a nice smooth surface. So, and then you have the two outer parts, and that's what we're going to be working with here tonight, right? This is the before, right here. Just a big kind of glob of epoxy putty on there, and as you can see, I've done some structural additions here. Filled this space because this is going to be sticking out like that. So once that's all together, you're not going to see any spaces there. That's just because of the gap, but that's going to basically be what it's going to look like right there, right? And then added some buffering strips right there, so I didn't have to use any more epoxy putty. Just kind of filled that in and everything, and then underneath of here, filled in some strips. There was a gap below here, and all that, and then glued this front section onto the body portion here because we're not obviously going to be using the hoses that go on here, so we're in good shape. So that's the before, right? That's what we're looking like. Yeah. Here is the after. Nice. It's a nice silhouette there. Follows the top contour and then straight down, and a little reveal lip here, which is a nice look. And then this is all smoothed out. All the seams and everything are completely eliminated. This is all wet sanded down to 1000 grit, and this is just about as smooth as you can get this stuff. There's no catch at all on the fingernail test, so that's a successful epoxy putty integration there, right? These two corner edges are nice and sharp. All these surfaces are nice and flat. That's the important thing. And then this surface here just completely just contours right into the epoxy putty, and it just looks really, really good. So there we go. JD's over there on YouTube. He says, anybody know whatever happened to little A? Is he hiding in a corner with his White Claw or what? Yeah. Who knows, man? Who knows? I haven't heard out of little Andrew in a while. I mean, I'd probably say that's a good thing. Just saying. Anywho. All right. So, you guys, time to get nasty and dirty, right? So, let's actually show you how this piece fits on here, because this piece fits on really quite nicely. And there it is. You can see, you don't see that gap in there anywhere. And then once we have the covering over top of this, because we're going to plate this section here, and that's going to overlap all the way to this sidewall. So you're not going to see any of that. That's going to be completely filled in. That's going to look really, really nice. You can see how kind of tight that joint is. Really, really quite nice. And it's a nice, nice silhouette. Yeah. Very good. All right. So, without any further ado, Chris Pab says, I saw he registered for his classes or something. Oh, little Andrew. Cool. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Isn't he busy being scholastic? A scholastic lush, Bill says. Nice. All right. So, like I said, we're going to take this blob of cured epoxy putty. We're going to get this nicely grafted in, blended, contoured shape. So that's the plan anyways, right? Who knows if we can pull it off. But we have faith. We have faith that we can pull it off, right? So, all right. So the dirty part is really the first part. And that's the Dremel. And let me show you kind of what I use here. So, if you guys have a Dremel or rotary tool of any sort, this sanding drum right here is kind of my first step into getting this over to this, right? This sanding drum is very aggressive, meaning that it's going to move a lot of material, but it's also going to kick up a lot of dust. And you do not want this dust in your lungs. It's disgusting is what it is. And dangerous too, because you don't want it building up in here, and that's just, it would be bad. Let's put it that way. Your doctor would not be happy with you. Yeah. JD's over there on YouTube, he says, Tim, when you scribe through putty, do you use anything differently since it's not as dense? No, actually, same scribers as I would plastic. This epoxy putty is almost as dense as Bandai plastic. Almost. You know, I can't really put a dent into it. I mean, I can kind of mark it with my fingernail, but you can do kind of the same thing on the Bandai plastic. See? Right, let me see. Right there, you can kind of see the marks that I made with my fingernail, right? And then on here, right there, you can kind of see the marks in the highlight that I made with my fingernail as well. So it's not, you're not gonna indent this thing, but you know, obviously you can leave some marks on it, right? And then also there can be soft spots if you didn't mix it properly as well, which I highly suggest that you spend several minutes mixing it properly to a consistent color, right? So, excuse me. So yeah, so you can scribe this with your BMCs, your MadWorks, whatever. But just be careful in terms of the transition over from one material to the other, because the difference in density you can jump your chisel if you're not careful, right? It's not a huge concern, but it's a concern. Let's put it that way, right? So, anywho, but yeah, so this right here, this is the bad boy that we get started with. This is when it's going to kick up a lot of dust. We're going to put on the mask. I'm probably going to sound like Charlie Brown's mom, you know, but yeah, we're gonna make quick work of this thing, and then we'll move on to the finer bits, the bastard file, and some of the other files and stuff like that. So, but first, safety is everything, right? Safety is everything. Let's see. Andre Janelle Franklin's over there on Facebook. What's going on, man? He says, awesome work. Thank you. I appreciate that, dude. Appreciate that. And then, let's see. Slick Builder is over there also on Twitch. He says, that looks next level. Man, thank you. I appreciate that, guys. But, like I said, I'm going to show you how to do this. There's no secret to it. There's no magic. I'm going to show you. All right? Stay tuned. JD says the Tamiya epoxy putty, it just seems softer and then would have thought maybe it's just not a completely equal ratio. So JD, so think about this. There's two, right? There's two different epoxy putties Tamiya that Tamiya has. One is the quick type, the one in the green box. This is the one I use. This is what you see here, right? The second one is the smooth surface. It's crap. It's utter garbage. I used it once and I tossed it. It's terrible. It is literally the worst stuff. It's like a worse form of Milliput. It's trash. It is absolutely trash. So, but yeah, so this is quick type. This stuff is great. You can get this stuff actually to a very, very high shine with just sanding and a little bit of buffing and stuff like that. And I'm gonna actually give it a try here once we get this part shaped. So we'll see, right? But first, let's get zoomed out just a bit so you guys can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. We're gonna put this part off to the side. We're gonna get our little water basin off to the side here so there's no accidents. And we're just gonna kind of generally clean this section up here because this is gonna make a fucking mess. I'm gonna tell you that right now. All right, so mask, and then also, guys, safety glasses. You don't want this shit going in your eyes either. So trust me, it's disgusting. It's not good. It's not good. Anyway, all right. So that's on.
Here we go. I sound like Darth Vader. Hey. Yeah. Alright, so it's going to get loud. Here we go. Woo! Alright. On camera, here we are. Alright, so. You see all the dust that this shit is picking up? It's very bad for your lungs. And you just want to rough this out. You don't need to take this down to perfect, smoothness or anything like that. You just want to rough this shape up. Can you guys even hear me? I don't even know. You sound like the doctor from Little Shop of Horrors. Thank you, Manny. Appreciate that, buddy. Oh, good, you guys can actually hear me. That's crazy. Hey, Joe Woodruff, what's going on over there on Facebook? Tim, have you thought of getting a shop vac to suck up that dust as you use the Dremel? I have. It's a pain in the ass. I actually have one over there. It's an utter pain. This is better. Trust me, even though it's messy, it's better. Because I'll come back here with my airbrush and just spray this shit off. Alright, so we've got 1, 2, 3 sides. We need to be careful with this side because we don't want to take it down all the way. So we're just basically kind of starting to flatten this out, right? Alright. Yeah.
Ugh. Was I yelling very loud? Sorry. Sounds like he's on helium. My bad. I didn't know how much you could hear me or not. But I don't know. But it's like,
with this thing, you have to yell really. Yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. It sounds to me like, yeah. And you have to breathe a lot harder with this thing because you're getting through the filters and all that, and it's a pain in the ass.
ugh. But anyway. You should mic yourself under the mask. If I had one. Babe. If I had one. Anyway. Alright. So that's all we need. That's all we need that for. Thankfully. And as you can see, we've created a lot of dust, right? A lot of dust. But that's okay because now it's not in the air anymore pretty much, and it's all settled and we're good to go. So our lungs are pretty much good. Now, we've got our very rough shape, and now we need to start to refine this, right? So the first side I want to tackle is this side here, because we need to get this contour, because this isn't completely flat. It contours down this way, right? So we're going to start up here. This is kind of a mini bastard file, but this is really, really aggressive stuff here. And it looks like I didn't fill in the epoxy putty as much as I should have right about there. So we might have to get a little creative with that here later, but we'll wait and see. Because, yeah, that's probably going to need a little spot treatment. So anyway, what we need to do, you can see with this piece here, the contour here of the plastic sheet, right? So this is where this plastic sheet ends, this contour, and obviously the yellow is where the epoxy putty begins, right? So that's where we need to take it to. All right. We're just basically flattening this surface out so it snugs right onto the body, the main body anyways. All right, so let's get the big bastard file out, and we're gonna swap kind of between different tools, right? Just so that we can keep the shape consistent. Because what we want to do is we want this whole surface here to be completely smooth, right? Why is that so bright? That is very bright, isn't it? All right, we're going to fix that. Boop, and boop. There we go. Now we're in good shape. Cool. Boom. All right. Slick Builder says, over there on Twitch, he says, I'm just curious why you opted for epoxy putty over straight styrene. This is much quicker, and honestly, you're going to probably get better results out of this because you can finesse the epoxy putty a lot more, where you're going to need to do a lot more work with straight plastic. And if your cuts and your angles and everything on the plastic isn't just perfect, you're kind of SOL. With this, there's a little bit more leeway in terms of tolerances and wiggle room. And honestly, I just find it a lot easier when we're reshaping parts like this. I just find it a lot easier. Because you can contour this stuff obviously a lot easier too. So, yeah. So Sean's over there on Facebook. What's up, Z? He's coming out to SEGMC, you guys. And from what I've heard, Batman may make an appearance. But we'll have to wait and see, right? All right. So we're getting really close to this plastic contour here. Really close. And that's a good thing, because then we can match this up to the actual part and kind of see where we are with things, how we're looking. Okay. All right, so I think what we're going to do is transition over to the sandpaper. This is about 400 grit, right? Shoot. And we're just going to basically go at this until we hit plastic. And you can kind of see there's this pencil line right here. Once that disappears, we know we're good, because then we've hit plastic, and we're basically done this side. But we want to make sure everything is nicely feathered in for later steps, because what we're going to do is, one of the last steps is wet sand this thing. Okay, we are super close. Looks good so far. We are almost to that point where we're going to stop. Right about there, I think looks good. All right. So now we're going to give this one more final go over with the big old bastard file here. This will help smooth everything out. Nice. Okay, so now we can pop these two pieces on here and see how they match up in terms of fit, right? Actually, before we do that, I gotta get rid of this little tab here, because that's gonna get in the way. I did not think that this tab would be a hindrance, but come to find out, it is. So we'll just shave that off of there with this chisel blade and make short work of that. Oh yeah. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a perfect fit. That's nice, nice and tight. And what we're looking at is not necessarily up here, because these strips here are going to be covered over in subsequent steps, right? What we're looking for is the fitment right along in these front sides here, and that is about as tight as you can get it. It's looking good, looking good. Scott Newmaker's over there on Facebook. What's going on, Scott? Okay. So now that we've got this surface completely established, and now that I look at this, we might be in good shape as far as this inner corner here goes. It might be just a little short, but we'll see. We will see, right? All right, so next surface that I'm going to start to attack is the top. Again, start with this kind of rough little bastard file here just to start to knock this thing down, and then we'll come back with the actual big old bastard file, and we'll really kind of smooth this surface out. But that looks pretty damn good so far. Hey Gary, thank you, buddy. He just subbed over there on the Twitchy Twitch. All right, that's looking pretty good. All right, so that just about does it with the bastard file. So now go back into this with 400 grit and really just kind of get this transition just feathered in and just kind of just really super smooth. Now don't worry, we're gonna clean these sanding strokes up here in a little bit. We just want to get this shape transitioned in and just really smooth. That right there does not have any catch in the fingernail test, so that's already looking really good. Okay, and then if we match these two up, we should be damn near perfect on the top there. Yeah, that's pretty much right across there. That's even. Yeah. So, all right, real quick. Superset's got a question.
We have a question.
He says, since I can't paint outside using my airbrush anymore, can I use Tamiya acrylic and retarder with thinned with water? I was wondering because I'll be using a regular paintbrush until it gets warmer next year. No, I wouldn't. I would not mix water with Tamiya. Tamiya is alcohol-based, not water-based, and if you mix water with Tamiya, it just ends up making a mess, and it actually ends up weakening the Tamiya a great deal. I would definitely not recommend that. So, but a good question though. Make sure you stay hydrated, folks. All right, back to it. All right, so now what we've got is we've got two sides, this side and this side, matched smooth. Man, this corner right here on the epoxy putty is just kind of super sharp, and it matches the sharpness of this plastic here. Really good. Julio says, oh, and you keep sanding too much. Eh? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, since it's alcohol based, going back to Superset's question, and Julio and Greg Blair chimed in, you want to mix it with an alcohol based product like Tamiya's acrylic thinner, which is what I thought I had some around here. I guess I don't. 20 or something like I don't remember. Or 91% isopropyl alcohol, which is what Greg Blair had suggested. That's another one, which is basically what the Tamiya thinner is. It also has some additives and stuff like that in there, probably a leveling agent and things like that. But Super Set 5, so Mr. Leveling Thinner then? Yes! I mean, that's the perfect match for Tamiya. Mind you, that's a lacquer thinner. It is solvent-based, so it is a bit toxic. But as long as you have proper airflow, so say if you have a fan or something like that, or like an exhaust sort of system out the window, or hey, even if you're sitting at a window, with the window wide open, spraying it like this out the window, honestly, you should be fine. But yes, in my opinion, Mr. Leveling Thinner is the perfect match for Tamiya acrylics, because not only does it speed up the curing time tremendously, where normally you're going to leave Tamiya to cure for about 24 hours, here you're going to leave it to cure for about 20 minutes. Yeah. It also smooths Tamiya down to like a baby butt smooth surface, and also it increases the durability of Tamiya tremendously. It almost makes Tamiya, it almost turns it into almost like a pseudo lacquer, right? Almost to the level of Mr. Color. I use that combination quite extensively, especially on the little bears that I've done, the Blue Destiny, and then also the Gundam Version Logic was all Tamiya mixed with Mr. Color Leveling Thinner. So that is the perfect combination. I can't say enough about it. So yeah. Slick Builder says, I hate to say it, but if you want to keep the fumes down, go with full acrylic like Vallejo. I hate full acrylic. Yeah, a lot of people have success with full acrylics, right? Especially armor builders, because in traditional modelers, right? Because 9 times out of 10, their models aren't going to move, or are not movable, right? Where ours have articulation, right? Moving parts. So what works for traditional modelers isn't always the best for our genre of modeling, right? In my opinion, and it's just an opinion, it needs some more durability. You spend a lot of money on these models, why crap out on your materials and your tools and stuff like that? It doesn't make sense. So, Slick Builder says, I noticed if you let the Tamiya sit in the Mr. Color Leveling Thinner for a few minutes before you spray it further, improves performance. Noticed if you let the sit in the... You lost me there, Slick. Mix the Tamiya with the Mr. Color Leveling Thinner. I don't know. Anyway, Chris R. What's going on, Chris? He said Chris is going to be at SCGMC next week, or this weekend, you guys. I use Tamiya, though I want to use Mr. Color. Dude, just like I said, just get some Mr. Color Leveling Thinner, and you've got almost the same thing. Saying. Bishop Stormy's over there on Twitch. What's going on? He says, what's the ratio you use? That's the magic question, isn't it? There is no standard ratio, because different colors require different thinning ratios. That's the best thing I can tell you. What you want to look for is you want to eyeball the consistency of the paint to about the thickness of like skim milk. Some people say milk, like standard milk, like the full fat vitamin D milk. I don't know. I think it's a little too thick. Skim milk. Just go with that. Anyway, so milk. Yeah, basically that. Yeah. Between milk and skim milk, you're fine. 2%, whatever. But just not almond milk. Just stay away from that shit. That's a whole nother subject. All right. Anyway, getting back to it. So we've got 2 surfaces clean. Let's get this outside one. This one is a little bit tough because you have all of this detail and stuff like that here, but it's not a big deal for me because most of this detail right around the circular opening is going to be cut out anyway and filled in because we need to create kind of a box enclosure for the arm joints. So not a big deal. And these 3 little kind of details here, I don't really give a shit about. So the main thing is that we need to even up these surfaces here because the surface on this bottom piece that we glued in is a little proud of this main piece. So we need to take that down, and then we need to kind of blend in the epoxy putty as well. So we can do that in all in one fell swoop here, which is actually kind of nice. So we're gonna get this going here, and we're using this kind of rough little rough bastard file here just to start things off. Same thing with these 2 little kind of indented details here. Not really concerned about them. Yeah. Okay, so that's starting to look pretty good. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. So you can see we've got this level just completely annihilated here down to one flat surface here, which is real nice. And now you can kind of see there's a low point right here, but you can see the contour start to show through underneath of this epoxy putty, which means we're getting pretty close to that surface. So we're going to take the big bastard file here and start to contour this back and smooth out this entire surface here. Yeah, see, that's looking good so far. Yeah, looks nice. 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 Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Greg Blair, let's catch back up here real quick here. Slick Boater says, I'll mix my Tamiya paint with my Mr. Hobby thinner, then let it sit for a few minutes. I believe it breaks down the pigment more for a smoother paint. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I've never really had any issue with the leveling thinner. So if you're using the straight Mr. Thinner, then that may be a thing. But I've always had good luck with Mr. Color leveling thinner. But Greg Blair, the yellow label leveling thinner, right? I am about to buy it on Amazon. Just want to make sure I get the right stuff. Yes, it is the Mr. Leveling Thinner. This stuff right here. That stuff. That's what you want. That's the good stuff. That's the secret sauce. The mother's milk, if you will. That's what you want. So, yeah. Armina Tex Marquis says, nothing wrong with almond milk, just saying. Yeah. I mean, not a big fan of milk anyway, so. Anyway. Let's see. Who says almond milk is my shit? Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Chris Pab says faux mofuggin days. Chris, you good? I hope so, man. But yes, 4 days. Julio has a question.
We have a question.
He wants to know, how do you remove epoxy buildup on your files? Great question. So, we got some nastiness right there, right? Old toothbrush. Oh, look at that. Practically new. Now, obviously, you're gonna have, these, these little stubborn bits here and there, right? Not a big deal. Not a big deal because they make, and let me see if I can find it here. I hardly ever use it. Here it is. So they make these wire brushes here, these rough wire brushes, right? And these are file brushes. And basically what you do is just run it right over these. And that gets most of that crud out of there. And if you're really, really picky about it, you can take an old hobby knife or something like that. And you can kind of get in there and just kind of get these little stubborn deals. It's, they're not like stuck in there, tremendously. You can pop them out of there with your hobby knife, and then you can kind of go back with your toothbrush and really knock them out. But honestly, between this and the first round of toothbrush action, gets most of it out. Yeah. So, it's not really a huge deal, quite frankly. So, yeah. Anyway. Oh, let's see here. Slick Builder says, that's the sauce. Superset 5. Top coat can be mixed with retarder and hand brushed, correct? I've never really used hand brushes, as you can tell. I'm sure it... I would think that it can. I've never done it myself, so I am not the expert on top coating by hand. So... yeah, honestly, I don't know. I've always airbrushed or spray canned. So, I don't know. I really don't. Greg Blair says acetone will eat the plastic. Yeah, but then you're introducing liquid onto the file, and I'm not real super comfortable with that. I mean, if you're really, really, really paranoid about it, take a heat gun to it, and it'll just kind of melt the plastic off. You can go to town, right? Let's see. Julius over there on YouTube has a follow-up question.
We have a question.
Are those the high-spec files on your Amazon link? Yes. Yes, they are. These are that big old kind of folder action. And these... right here, these guys, the high spec, right? So that's what you get, this big old folder of files. And the camera's slipping. Stop it, camera. God damn it. There we go. But yeah, so basically you get a bunch of these files, and these are super aggressive files, right? And you get the big ones, and then you get a bunch of cool little ones here. So I've gone through and used a good majority of these guys. But yeah, they are super aggressive, so you have to be careful with them. This Nicholson file is much finer for some reason. So I kind of like using this one in most situations in terms of stuff like what you're seeing here now. So, because this will take off just a little bit at a time, where the high spec ones are, like I said, super aggressive. They're going to take a lot of material off. They're going to move a lot of plastic and putty, right? So just keep that in mind. So, all right. Let's see. Spider 2K2. James 2.0. Isn't that brush made for yarn and knitting? No, that is a file cleaning brush specifically made for files and stuff like that. Yeah. Need to acquire a wire brush. Yeah, find them at Home Depot, Lowe's, any hardware store should have them wherever they sell files and stuff like that. So, yeah. Brandon's over there on YouTube. He says, I found precision ground needle files online, got excited because I'm a tool geek and love high quality. Then I saw the price and said, nope, nope, nope. $20 to $40 per file was a little too much. For what we do, I'd probably say so. Kyle H says, make sure you don't buy wood files. They can be way too aggressive. Yeah, wood files are basically a no-go because wood files are kind of more like rasps. They have actual teeth. You'll be able to tell the difference. They're not necessarily like this, right? That have a pattern. They more have like gouging teeth. And yeah. Anywho. Hulonius. What's up, Julio3? He says, I'm finally not dead during a live stream for once, right? What's going on, dude? Nice. Hey, Jashawn F is over there on YouTube, and they have a question. Let's get them.
We have a question.
What file is in that handle? Great question. Okay, so this is a 6-inch, what's called a bastard file or a flat file. The handle is an add-on, but it basically just twists off, and that is what you get. This is by Nicholson here in the States. And yeah, this is called a flat bastard file. So you can pick up this handle separately, which I really, really like, and just you slot that in there, and pretty much any file you can pop into this handle, and it just twists here to lock it in place, and it's good to go. Easy peasy. So yeah, flat bastard file. This is, like I said, about a 6-inch file. You can find them in different lengths and stuff like that. I think they come in an 8-inch file. So a 6-inch file is plenty. So, but good question. Very good question. One of the best tools for flattening larger surfaces. So keep that in mind too. Definitely well worth it, and not expensive. Not expensive. I think that particular file was like, I think it was like $6 to $8, and then the handle I think was like $6 or $7. So definitely well worth it. Definitely well worth it. Ascension Industries, can you add more putty if you mess up and reshape it? Absolutely. Yes, that's the beauty of it. The putty can definitely be added on in stages, which is actually something we'll probably end up doing. So I had to do that with the Aussie, and we're probably going to have to do that with this particular piece here too, because what I want to do is once we get the initial shape here, what we want to do is add on to the sides here, and then around the back for kind of like a collar look. So yeah, that's what we're probably going to end up having to do. So, but yeah, anyway, let's continue on. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so we broke through right here at the top. You can see that perfect. Oop, let's get you zoomed in so you can actually freaking see it. Right about there. Let's go 70 millimeter. There we go. But, like I was saying, you can see this perfect contour line right here where that plastic is. That is a solid transition. Now, we still got a little bit right here. There's a little low point right there that we have to get this evened up with, and there's a little spot right up here at the top that I can see that we're going to need to deal with as well. But so far, it's looking pretty damn good, yeah? Okay. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to switch back to the more aggressive one here. Just try to make quick work out of these low points here. Now, question for the audience. Is anyone from the Boston area? Let me know. Is anyone on right now from the Boston area? And that are football fans? Anybody? Boston. Sparion. Spayron? Spayron. I don't know. I hope I'm not butchering your name. Man, what a good game last night. I know this isn't a sports-related live stream normally. But, Sparion. Okay, that's what I kind of thought, but I wasn't 100% sure. Thank you for the pronunciation. I appreciate that. That respect. That's good. Good stuff. But Sorvon's over there. Sorvon's over there on Twitch holding it down for us. He says, "Oh boy, time for Tim to troll the Pats fans." No, man. Come on. I'm not going to troll them because it was a good game, man. It was a really, really good game, and there was respect on both sides of that ball. Like, seriously, especially after the game. You saw it. Especially when Lamar and Brady met up. And, yeah, they were very respectful. I was like, that's solid. That's solid. But I can't help but be happy that my team won. Right? Can't help but be happy. Alright, so we've got this surface pretty smooth now. So now we're transitioning over to the sandpaper, okay? And we're just basically feathering all these surfaces in. But yeah, I thought it was a great game. I watched it... I mostly watched it from the beginning to the end. Mostly. I'm kind of phased out in certain parts. But, for the most part, yeah, I watched it fully. But, yeah, man, good game. Real good game. Okay. Alright, so now, just get one more kind of smoothing pass here with the big old bastard file here, just to get everything yeah, there we go. Now we're in good shape. Alright. That's good. That's good. Now, here we go. Man, y'all thought I was gonna troll the Pats fans. Nah, man. Definitely not. Definitely not. Like, let me just take a second to talk about sports. I know probably a lot of you aren't not into sports. I get that. I respect that. I like football. Sorry. But yeah, man, like normally when the Ravens and Patriots play, it's a dogfight. Unless for the last few years when the Ravens have sucked. But hey, that's one thing or another. But traditionally, especially when we've met in December and January, fireworks, man. Fireworks. Great games. Last night, definitely lived up to the billing. An 8-0 team, quarterback by arguably one of, if not the best quarterback in the history of football, coming in to a young, kind of unorthodox team at home. Yeah, it lived up to the Sunday night billing. Let's put it that way. So, anyway, I digress. All right. So, we got all three surfaces here done. Now we've got to get this surface done. 11:11. So, great timing. Okay, cool. So, anywho, we need to start to flatten out this surface. Now, the one thing about this front surface, it's not just flat, like straight on, like a 90-degree, perpendicular to the sides, right? If you look at this, there's an angle to this, and it matches the angle of this part right here. And if you look down, kind of look down the barrel of that, you're going to see, and let me see if I can get it straight on camera. Right there, see? That angle matches. So we need to match that angle. So what we need to do, first and foremost, is take our little chisel blade here, and we need to trim the front bit off here because we can't get in there with the Dremel, nor really can we get in there, successfully with a file. We can get close, but just not perfect. Let's put it that way, right? So what we want to do is we want to bring this back about 2 millimeters off of that front surface. So that's what we're trimming down here at this point. And we're just nibbling away at this epoxy putty. Almost there. We're a little high on this side, so we need to take this side down a little bit more. Okay, but let's match this up and see where we are. Okay, that's getting really nice and close. So that's good. So we just need to just bring this whole surface down just a little bit. Now, since we've got a nice flat edge right here, right? We're going to switch up tools just a little bit and go a little unorthodox here. We're going to use our utility knife, mainly because this has a longer cutting edge than obviously the chisel blade does, right? So we are going to utilize that longer cutting edge to trim this down appropriately and even this out. Looks pretty good. Now, one thing that you'll notice, there are going to be irregularities in some places on the epoxy putty, right? With this piece here, you can see a little bit of a divot that formed right there. But then also, too, you can kind of see a little bitty air pocket right there. Not a big deal. We can backfill that with epoxy putty, and we can be good to go, right? So, not a big deal. All right. Let's see. Let's get caught up here, shall we? Okay. Julio Ponte says, knife discipline. Yes. Yes. Edwin RSA. What's going on, Edwin? Let's see. NT1 Bruce. How is the blade not cutting into the red bit that you have? Is it because the epoxy putty is softer than the plastic? The epoxy putty is a bit softer than the plastic. But you know, you just need to kind of watch how deep the blade is going, right? That's the best thing I can kind of describe, right? So let's match these up here and see. Okay. We're still just a little bit off. We're still a little proud on both sides. I think that's where we're going to stop that, right? And now we just have to contour and angle this surface here, right? So, to start with, again, we're going to use our coarse, high-spec little bastard file here. And we're going to, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the contour of this and match the angle of this surface. And we're going to try our best to get that angle filed in. That's looking pretty good. I think we've found that angle there. But this particular surface is going to take a little bit of finesse. So if you just match, oh yeah, see, look at that. If you just rest the file right up against the surface there, it matches really nice. It matches real nice. So, yeah. Okay. Looking good. Now, one thing that I've kind of picked up over the years is you don't want to get this file down all the way to the surface here because it'll cause an indentation, right? So what I like to do is prop my finger up just above that surface and then let the file ride on just the side of your finger there, and then that way it will help prevent that file causing undue damage to the plastic that you're trying to protect. All right, that's pretty good. Let's start with the big boy here and start to flatten this out because there's a bit of a curve in this right now, right? And what we want is we want that to be just dead ass flat, right? So if we take this, that's pretty dead ass flat right there, right? That's what we're looking for anyway. That's what we're attempting to do, yeah? We're definitely getting there. Cool. Now, we've definitely got a bunch of wiggle room still left here because these two surfaces are not necessarily perfectly even right now. So that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. But it looks like this is going back flat, so we need to start to angle this a little bit more. Not bad. Not bad. We're getting there. We're getting there. All right. Now, the best way to check the opposite side is to hold them out like that, and this side is still a little, this angle right here, this side is still a little proud from the other one, right? So we need to continue to take that down, continue to taper that down. Let's check flatness. Ooh, look at that. That is looking pretty good. There's a little soft spot right up here where there's not a lot of putty. So that looks like it curves off, but on this side where there's a nice kind of flush corner there, look at that. That's nice and flat, like dead ass. Dead ass, son. Right, Julio? Dead ass, son. You. Alrighty. We're very, very close on this surface here. We just need to take it down just a little bit more, I feel. Then we'll bring the sanding block in here. Really get everything just kind of super, super flat. Dead ass B. Right? Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff right there. All right. So, if we match these up, ooh, yeah. That surface there, perfectly matched. If we look at this, that angle is just that's pretty damn good. It's not bad. It's pretty damn close. I don't think anybody's realistically going to notice any sort of angular difference between these two pieces. Unless they came through with, you know, protractor, something like that. I don't think they're going to find out. So, I think we're in good shape. Dead ass. Alright. So we're just going to clean up this bottom surface here real quick just to get that nice corner there. Perfect. And just a little scraping there. Yeah. And there we are. two matched pieces. Let's see what they look like on the part, and then we're going to go into wet sanding this thing and see if we can't get a polish on this, or at least a high shine, right? There we go. Ooh, look at that. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, you guys. Reshaping parts with epoxy putty is a very, very powerful tool in your arsenal. A bit messy, but very, very powerful. That's why I love to use epoxy putty, because you're not going to get the same results with many other methods this quickly, right? What did it take us? It took us what, maybe 45 minutes to do this, and I was answering questions and taking breaks and showing you and telling you how to do things. So realistically, 25 minutes, a half an hour to shape one of these things, not that bad. Not that bad at all. And I mean, that just really, really looks good. So now we've got some really, really pretty base shapes here. We've got everything contoured in. We've got all of these edges coming together really, really nicely. You can stack vents on top of here, armor pieces, what have you. You can carve into this. You can plate over this to give different height differences and stuff like that. You know, you can do a bunch of different things now to these brand new surfaces, because these are simplified, right, to what they were before. You know, if you look at what was there before, it, you know, was kind of a mess. Yeah? So that, my friends, is the beauty of epoxy putty, right? So, all right, let's try to polish this thing up. Let's try to get a high shine on this thing. So we've got 400 here. We've got 800 here, dry grit, and we're going to go over this here real quick and smooth out the majority of these surfaces here and get this ready for wet sanding here, all right? So now I'm going to use a combination of back and forth and then circular patterns. It doesn't really matter, in my opinion. At this grit level, 1/2 dozen or another, to be honest. And essentially what I'm doing now is feathering in those sanding strokes with the rest of the plastic, with the rest of this side surface here. So that right now already is super smooth, right? So let's get the top. We're going to do this whole surface here because I had to sand this back to apply the plastic sheet. And the same thing to the back side here where I had to sand that down as well. Okay. All right, last surface here. Ooh, yeah, missed a question there by Brandon.
We have a question.
All right, so Brandon wants to know, for fixing chipped corners on something like that, what would be the easiest way? Adding more epoxy putty, CA glue, and kicker? It depends, really. If you want it left exposed, say, for instance, like this little divot here, right? I'd probably fill that in with super glue, and then just kind of sand that and trim that back. For larger kind of screw ups and things like that, like this corner right here, it depends. It really depends. I could add epoxy putty over that, but honestly, I'm probably going to plate over a lot of this, so it's not a huge concern for me right now at this point. So, it's one of those things where you got to kind of pick and choose your battles, So, those are all options on the table. Okay. All right. Superset 5 says, with Hathaway's Flash coming out next year, do you think we will get a Master Grade Odysseus Gundam? Which one is that? Is that the Cassie or is that underneath the Penelope? I think that was underneath the Penelope armor, right? I very, very highly doubt that we'll see that, right? I think a Master Grade is possible, but unlikely. No, but I'm talking about the flight unit. Oh, yeah. That's the one with the Penelope, I think, right? That would probably be the biggest Master Grade ever, right? Think. I very, very, very seriously doubt we'll see a Master Grade Penelope. Now, the Cassie, on the other hand, we've not seen in high grade, and we've not seen anyplace else thus far, so I've kind of got a hunch that it might be a Master Grade. Just saying. I don't know that, seriously, now, I don't know that for a fact. I haven't heard any rumors or anything like that, so let me clear that up right now. It's just a hunch. Plain and simple. Just a hunch. Yeah, there's the Deep Striker. That's true. I always forget about the Deep Striker, yeah. So, all right. So what we've got here, we've got sanded down to 800 grit. This is looking really, really quite nice. Now, we're going to bring the water in, and we're going to start off with 1,000 grit wet sand, right? So we're going to dip that right into the water. And for shits and giggles, we're going to dip the part right into the water as well. Get that nice and moist, right? And what we're going to do is we're just going to go to town. Same motion, same everything, just with water. Now, what you'll find is if you've never wet sanded before, which I highly recommend that you do, this will leave your surfaces insanely smooth. Like smoother than you've ever seen surfaces before. Like almost to the level of pristine plastic right out of the box. That kind of level of smoothness, right? Moist! Bry guy. What's going on, Brian? It is. It's moist. This part is now moistened. So again, a combination of back and forth circular patterns doesn't really make a huge bit of difference. Just the fact that this is getting nicely polished, basically. So we'll start here with 1,000 grit, right? And then we'll start to work our way up. And what we want to try to achieve, just as an experiment, is a shiny finish on this epoxy putty. I think we can do it. I'm confident we can do it. Essentially, I guess if you overfile a corner, you could make a frame and fill it with putty, like using wood to make edges for concrete pours. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the same exact principle. I mean, a lot of the principles in woodworking surprisingly translate perfectly over to kind of modifying and scratch building and stuff like that. I mean, because that's where I got the idea for scribing jigs and stuff, you know? It just makes sense. So yeah, so if you have any experience in woodworking or carpentry or anything like that, your skill set is going to become very, very useful in the modification and scratch building fields for scale models. Yeah. Okay. All right. So that right there is the first round at 1,000 grit, right? So now we're going to move up the ladder. We're going to go with 1,500, okay? Superset 5 says, I was thinking the Odysseus would be master grade and the flight unit would be P Bandai, like an RE unit. It's not. I agree with Sorvon. That does not sound like a Bandai thing to do. Yeah. I think that's kind of wishful thinking, really. Alright, so this is 1,500 wet grit. And you can already start to tell that this is extremely, extremely smooth already. Just after one pass with 1,000 grit. Like that. That feels like glass, right? But it's only the first steps. We still got a few more, right? Still got a few more. This is the type of thing that you would want to do if you wanted a high gloss on your model, like almost like a candy coat or a like a show car type finish. These are the steps that you're going to have to go through to get a nice, like dead ass flat base, surface for your primer and for your paint and for your clear and everything. You want the surface to be as smooth as possible because that's your base, that's your foundation, right? So as long as that's nice and smooth, everything else on top of it is going to be pretty damn smooth as well. Okay. All right. Wow. That is just... that's insanely smooth. What is this? I don't know what that is. let's see, where's the sanding? It's this. Here we go. 2000. This is exactly what we were looking for. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, so let's get a bit of this cut off here. So we're moving up again. This is 2000 grit. This is Tamiya finishing abrasive. Now you can get 2000 grit in your local hardware store, your auto body finishing shop, and stuff like that. All those places. So this is, the Tamiya stuff isn't anything special. They just package it in such a way where it's convenient to get with other grits, right? So, but again, this is 2000. So we started with 1000. We just did 1500. This is now 2000. And this is honestly hardly doing anything at this point. Or at least it doesn't feel like it anyway, right? But it's probably doing a lot more than what we can physically see. And obviously feel just from, just from the sandpaper alone. Now, this is work, right? This is not necessarily a glamorous task, nor is it a fun task, right? This is tedious as hell. But the results, I think, will speak for themselves. There's always that that one area of modeling where it's just kind of not your favorite part. Well, this is probably very few people's favorite part, let's be honest. All right, that is 2000. Clean that off. Yeah. Whew. That is extremely, extremely smooth. Now, we're going to put that off to the side. Dry off our hands just a little bit. Let's get caught up with the chat for just a few seconds while we clean up our mess. Ugh. Anyway, Ascension Industries says, has a question.
We have a question.
Would Mr. Surfacer Primer help fill in leftover seam lines that putty doesn't quite hide? Trying to cover up a slight issue on my current build. It might. You don't want to necessarily rely on the Mr. Surfacer, because you have to think Mr. Surfacer is a contractive type of surfacer, meaning that it goes on and it kind of looks thicker than it actually is, but then it contracts as it cures, and it pulls in to all the details, crispy and nice and just beautiful. So I wouldn't necessarily rely on it. A good way to fill in those really troublesome spots, right here. our favorite. Yeah, this as filler, powerful stuff. Very, very useful. And it doesn't get much easier to use. Just saying. So, yeah. Let's see. JD has a question. After you clear coat, do you normally place those pieces in a dehydrator, or would that mess up the clear? No, you can, as long as the clear is completely cured, and I use Mr. Super Clear, which is a lacquer solvent-based clear coat. Give it 20-30 minutes, and then you can pop it in the dehydrator if you really need to. I wouldn't, because since it's a chemical curing reaction, you don't need to put it in the dehydrator. Now, if you are like wet sanding or something like that, and you want to dry it off, then by all means. Or if you want to dehydrate the moisture out of your applied water slide decals, then that's an option as well. But yeah, those are just all options. Let's put it that way. Superset5 over there on Twitch, he says, I almost forgot. If I'm just doing some minor painting, i.e. covering stress marks with Gundam markers, should I soak the part in 91% isopropyl alcohol or wash in warm water with dish soap? Honestly, if you're just doing touch-ups like that, you probably don't even need to do either, quite frankly. If you're really paranoid about it, warm water and some dish soap. Let it dry. Probably what I would do. So, Brandon says Ace Hardware sells single sheets of sandpaper up to 1,500 or 2,000 grit wet dry. I think it's 15 to 25 cents a sheet. Yeah, you can get packs of the stuff super cheap. Harbor Freight, I know, sells up to 3,000. I think I have some over there, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look. But yeah, you can get it that high. Specialty shops like car places and stuff like that, I think, sell even higher than that, on up to maybe even like, say, 10,000, 25,000 grit, which is like crazy smooth. So yeah. Let's see. Manny says, has anyone used automotive polishing compounds? He's asking because he has a set coming that's for exotic cars. Honestly, the polishing compounds might be a bit too aggressive for plastic, since they go on, like a 2K kind of clear coat, which is extremely durable and hard for cars. But you know what? Try it on a scrap piece. I mean, there's only one way to find out, right? Tamiya sells polishing compounds, a 3-stage polishing compound set, which is specifically made for plastic, obviously, which is really nice and kind of foolproof. You just kind of go through the progression of each grit, and it works really well. So, yeah. Godhand has 10,000 grit, yeah. But you're probably going to be paying an arm and a leg since it's God Hand, right? But, hey, what are you going to do? All right. Ooh, yeah, that is looking really good so far. All right, let's see what we've got here. Let's see what other sandpapers we got. That's 1,500. We don't want that. That's 1,500. We don't need that. This is 1,200. Don't need that. 400. Nope. 1,200. Come on, where's my 3,000? That's 2,000. I know I got 3,000 around here somewhere. Hang tight, don't move. I know I got it somewhere over here. Where'd it go? Here we go. All right. I knew I had this bin of sandpaper here. 2,000. I know I got 3,000 in here somewhere. 6,000. What's this one here? That's 1,200. What's this one? That's 1,500. Come on now. Where's the 3,000? I Love you 3000. Where's it at? 600. Ah, here we go. 3000. Yank that sucker out of there. Put these off to the side. And let's get a piece clipped off of here. This is basically... This feels like construction paper. Right? That's kind of the feeling of 3000 grit. It's like construction paper. Actually, it's probably smoother than construction paper. You know, like construction paper, like when you were a kid in like elementary school, when you used to make stupid crafts and stuff like that for your parents. That's kind of what this feels like, but even smoother. All right, so get the paper set up and wet. All right, so let's go to town. Let's see what this puppy does, eh? 3000 grit. Here we go. This will be one of our final stages. Now, I've heard of people actually taking like printer paper or notebook paper and using that as an extremely high grit style of sandpaper, or kind of a buffing style paper. I mean, you got to think, even though, yeah, it's made to write on and everything, it still has kind of a grit to it. So it's plausible. Okay, time check, 11:52. Cool. All right, we're coming down to the wire on this thing. Okay. All right. So there we go. Let's dry this sucker off. Yeah, see, okay, so right there, Brandon, he says, I used toothpaste and printer paper to finish my headlights after I buffed them to get the fogginess away. Yeah, I've heard people do that, actually. Using toothpaste as kind of like a polishing style compound. All right. So what we're going to do now is actually use a paper towel to buff this thing and see... Holy shit. See what we can get. We're really close to a high shine, you guys. Wow, yeah. We're really, really close to a high shine. And this is just paper towel. Slightly wetted or moist. And I'm specifically not doing this on camera so you guys can see and kind of see the finished result, right? because it's pretty impressive, actually. I'm actually really, really surprised by what we've got. It's not like a super glossy shine, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, let's change up the surface of paper towel because it's kind of going to pot there. Yeah, and that's pretty damn smooth. Okay, last surface here, and then I will show you guys what we've got. Alright, here we go. Yeah, that's pretty damn good. Alright, get the water out of the way first, and let's get you all the way zoomed in so you can see what we've got here. Alright, so, moment of truth, right? Look at that. That's a pretty decent shine right there in that. That is not bad. Let's get zoomed in all the way. Let's get super zoomed in, yeah? So you guys can actually see and feel the smoothness. Alright. Let's see, let's get this. There's focus. Yeah. You know what? With a little bit more polishing, and maybe just another couple grits, I mean, you can see the reflection of the lights right there. And obviously, since this is a different type of material, it's absorbing the light a little bit more. But right on top of there, this is kind of the best surface right here. But man, that is just silky butt smooth right there, boy. Ooh, but look at that. Look at that right there. What? Look at, okay. What I'm looking at. Look at the reflection on this surface. Come on now. Look at that. That's damn near mirror finish. Look at that. That's crazy. Wonder how this side looks. Yeah. Ooh. Even nicer. Look at that. You can see that mirror type finish. That's pretty damn good, you guys. But anyway, just an experiment. That's kind of the level progression, the grit progression that you can take into consideration and put into your pieces here, right? So there we go. Oh, I'm still in super zoom. Y'all can't see shit right now. Whoops. Alright, so there. Alright, so there we've got two damn near identical pieces, right? So let's pop these on here and see kind of what our chest is looking like here for this thingy. I don't even know what I'm calling it anymore. Yeah. There you go. Not bad. Not too bad at all. I'm happy with that. There we are. Yes. All right, camera 1. Here we go. So anyway. 5 days. 5 days to SCGMC. 4 days to the shenanigans. But 5 days to SCGMC, you guys. So if you are going to be there, swing by, say hi. Come on up. Strike up a conversation. It'll be fun. So, all right. If y'all want a cool-ass chibi shirt like that, go hit up www.chadamecha.com. Hit the store link up at the top. You'll find shirts and hats and all sorts of other cool stuff on there. Go stock up. They make great Christmas presents. If you are interested in any of the tools and materials, the files and sandpaper and all that crap, we got a Amazon link down below here on YouTube and Twitch. That side, if you're watching on Facebook, go stock up on there too. I get a bit of a commission based off the stuff that you buy, but it does go to support the stream. So go get you some stuff like that. And then, as always, if you are interested in kits and paints and mecha decals and stuff like that, hit up our good friends right down here, USA Gundam Store. Adam and the folks down there will definitely have what you need. We will be back, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday with a new stream. No more streaming this week. Monday is out too. SCGMC. California, here we come. Oh, one step closer. And like Armida said, it's the final countdown. Yes. Let's go. God, it's going to be so much fun, man. I can't wait. Everybody's going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. That song is banned this weekend. Good job. No! The final countdown. Come on. We'll sneak it in. Don't worry about it. Julio, you and me, we got this. We'll sneak it in. We won't tell Armida. All right. So, until next Wednesday, man, you guys have an awesome, awesome weekend if I don't see you at SCGMC. Have a great time regardless of what you're doing. Go build something cool. Stay safe out there, you guys. I will see you all hopefully next week.